The story. A kiss in the rain. The rain hammered the glass roof of the bus station as Aurora checked her watch for the 5th time in 2 minutes. Her white dress, carefully concealed beneath a trench coat, rustled with every anxious movement. The 3:15 bus to Westlake Chapel would arrive in exactly 7 minutes. 7 minutes until she began the journey to become Mrs. Liam Prescott. I am making the right decision. She pushed the thought away. After dating for 3 years, this marriage made perfect sense. Liam was stable, predictable, safe. The station was bustling with rushing travelers, their umbrellas trailing water across the polished floor. Aurora gripped her small suitcase tighter, and her engagement ring flashed in the fluorescent light. That's when she heard it, a small, ragged sob that cut through the noise of the station. A little boy, no older than 5, stood alone by the ticket counter, tears streaming down his cheeks, his Superman backpack clutched to his chest. "Are you okay?" Aurora approached slowly, kneeling down to his level. "I can't find my daddy," he whispered, his lower lip trembling. "He was here, and then—" His voice broke with another sob. Aurora looked at the station clock. 6 minutes now. "What's your name, sweetie?" "Finn. I'm Aurora. We'll find your daddy, okay?" Finn nodded, and his small hand slipped into hers with immediate trust. 5 minutes until her bus. She led him to the information counter, but the line was endless. Finn's grip tightened as a security guard walked by. "He looks scary," he whispered. "He's here to help," Aurora assured him, but Finn huddled behind her. 4 minutes. Her phone vibrated. "Liam, where are you? You'd better be on your way." "Liam, I found a lost child in the station. I'm trying to—" "Are you serious right now? This is our wedding day, Aurora." "I know, but there are literally hundreds of people in that station. Let someone else handle it." 3 minutes. Aurora looked at Finn, his eyes wide with fear and trust. "I can't just leave him, Liam. For God's sake, you always do this. You put everyone else before us." 2 minutes. The last call for the 3:15 bus boomed through the station. "Liam, I'm going to miss the bus. Can you send someone to pick me up?" The silence stretched between them before he spoke, his voice icy. "If you're not on that bus, don't bother coming." "What? You can't say—" "It's over, Aurora. I won't marry someone who can't even show up for her own wedding." The line went dead. 1 minute. The 3:15 bus pulled away from the curb, taking with it everything Aurora had planned for her future. "Miss, are you crying too?" Finn asked, his little finger pointing to her cheek. She hadn't even realized she was weeping. The information counter finally cleared, and a station attendant took Finn's information and broadcast it over the PA system. Aurora stayed with him, her wedding dress growing heavier beneath her coat with every passing minute. When they stepped outside to check the parking lot, the rain had intensified into sheets of water that soaked their clothes in seconds. Her carefully pinned hair sagged in wet waves around her shoulders. "Finn, thank God." A tall figure raced across the parking lot, expensive shoes splashing through puddles without hesitation. Finn let go of Aurora's hand and ran to the man. "Daddy!" The man swept his son into his arms, hugging him tightly, his shoulders slumping with relief. When he finally looked up, Aurora found herself caught in the gaze of the most intense eyes she had ever seen. Steel gray with flecks of blue, framed by dark lashes now heavy with rain. "You found my son." It wasn't a question, but a statement filled with something deeper than gratitude. He was alone by the ticket counter. Aurora's voice sounded strange to her own ears, thin and brittle. "You've been crying." Another observation. Direct and unwavering. A car horn blared as her phone lit up with notifications. Missed calls from the bridal party, her mother, the wedding planner. "It's nothing," she lied, as the rain mixed with her tears. The man studied her for a long moment, Finn secure in his arms. He was striking. Not conventionally handsome, but magnetic, with sharp features and an air of absolute command. His tailored suit, now drenched, clung to his broad shoulders. "I'm Julian DeVere," he finally said, "and you just saved my entire world." A flash of lightning illuminated his face in stark relief. "Aurora Gardner," she replied, unable to look away despite the downpour. "You're drenched, Aurora Gardner." He glanced at his sleek black car parked nearby. "Let me buy you a coffee. It's the least I can do." "I really should." She trailed off, realizing she had nowhere to go. A small smile touched his lips, not quite reaching those storm-gray eyes. "I insist." As thunder boomed overhead, Aurora made a decision that would unravel everything she thought she knew about love, desire, and herself. "A coffee," she agreed. Julian DeVere's gaze lingered on her face, an inexplicable intensity in his scrutiny that sent a shiver through her that had nothing to do with the rain. "A coffee," he repeated. His voice was a low promise. For now, the unconventional proposal. The lobby of the Bellevue Grand Hotel gleamed with marble and glass, a universe away from the gritty bus terminal. Aurora sat on the edge of a velvet armchair, keenly aware of her disheveled appearance amidst the opulence. "Earl Grey with honey." Julian slid the steaming cup across the table. "Finn mentioned you smelled like flowers and honey." A blush warmed her cheeks. Observant child, like his father. The corner of his mouth quirked up. Finn had fallen asleep in a nearby chair, his Superman backpack clutched to his chest. A hotel attendant had discreetly provided a cashmere blanket to cover him. "He's exhausted," Julian explained, loosening his tie. "His mother dropped him off unexpectedly. He has a flair for chaos." Aurora wrapped her fingers around the delicate porcelain, absorbing its warmth. "Divorced? 3 years." He studied her over the rim of his espresso cup. "And you were supposed to be somewhere important today." The statement hung between them, neither question nor accusation. "My wedding." The words tasted bitter. My ex-fiancé didn't appreciate my tardiness. Julian's eyebrows lifted slightly. "He abandoned you for being late? For choosing to help Finn instead of being on time for the ceremony?" Something in his expression shifted. Respect, maybe. "Then he's an ass." A surprised laugh escaped her lips. "That's generous." "I was thinking heartless bastard." His smile broke through, this time genuine, transforming his austere features. "I stand corrected." The hotel manager approached their table with soft deference. "Mr. DeVere, your suite is ready. We've prepared the adjoining room for your son, as requested." "Thank you, Arthur." Julian turned back to her. "Where will you be staying tonight, Aurora?" The reality crashed back. Her reservation at the honeymoon suite in Westlake. Her belongings, already delivered to what should have been their marital home. She hadn't considered that. Her voice sounded hollow, even to herself. Julian assessed her with that penetrating gaze. "The hotel has excellent rooms. Allow me to arrange something." "I couldn't. You saved my son." His tone brooked no argument. "One night in a hotel hardly balances the ledger." Before she could protest further, he was speaking quietly with the manager. "It's arranged," he announced upon returning. "You have a suite for as long as you need it." That's extremely generous, but considerate necessity, not generosity. He leaned forward, his presence magnetic. "Now tell me about yourself, Aurora Gardner." The question seemed innocuous, but his concentrated attention made it feel momentous. She found herself revealing more than intended. Her job as an event coordinator for a non-profit organization, her small apartment in Chelsea, her passion for old films. In turn, he shared measured details of his life. The CEO of DeVere Holdings, Finn's primary custodian, his preference for sailing over Gulf. "You don't strike me as recently abandoned," she commented after their second round of drinks. "You look relieved." The observation surprised him. "Perhaps I am." Her phone vibrated. Frowning at the screen, she silenced it. "Problem?" he asked. "Camille." His expression hardened. "Finn's mother. Ah." The temperature between them seemed to drop several degrees. "She excels at complicated situations." He set his glass down with precisely controlled force. "Tomorrow night is the Mercer Foundation Gala. Camille will be attending with her new boyfriend, an ex-colleague of mine. Strange. Strategically planned." He clenched his jaw. "She's determined to flaunt their relationship to our business associates and publicly embarrass me." Aurora cocked her head. "You don't look easily embarrassed." "I'm not worried about the embarrassment." A dangerous undertone crept into his voice. "I'm worried about perception. Appearances matter in my world." His expression suddenly shifted, as if an idea had struck him. He examined her with renewed interest. "You said you're an event coordinator, so you understand social dynamics, proper etiquette, and how to navigate complicated social situations." She nodded slowly, unsure where this was heading. "Perfect." He straightened in his chair. "I'm offering you a proposition, Aurora." A caution ran down her spine. "What kind of proposition?" "Attend the gala with me tomorrow night." His eyes held a glittering intensity. "Accompany me as my date." The shock rendered her momentarily speechless. "You want me to pretend to be your girlfriend? To make your ex jealous?" "Not precisely." He shook his head. "I want to demonstrate that I've moved on, that Camille's tactics are irrelevant, and I'm supposed to help you prove this point because you need time to regroup after today's disaster." His frankness was stunning. "Because you're intelligent, beautiful, and clearly in need of distraction. And because I suspect you are excellent company." Her mind churned with objections. "I have nothing suitable to wear for a high society function." "Easily solved. I know nothing about your business or your associates. You're a quick study. You'll adapt." "I don't know you." His eyes locked with hers. "That might be the strongest argument for accepting." The challenge in his gaze ignited something dormant within her, a craving for adventure, for the unexpected. "This is crazy," she whispered. "Undeniably." The curve of his mouth was almost predatory, but infinitely more interesting than sitting alone in a hotel room lamenting a relationship that clearly wasn't right for you. His certainty about her failed engagement should have irritated her. Instead, it felt like permission to acknowledge what she had refused to admit, even to herself. "One night," he continued, his voice deepening. "No expectations beyond that." The lobby grandfather clock chimed midnight. Cinderella's deadline, Aurora thought wryly. But this was no fairy tale, and Julian DeVere was certainly no Prince Charming. He was something far more dangerous. "Why me?" she finally asked. "You could ask anyone." "Because when I saw you standing in that downpour, soaked to the bone, and with makeup running down your face, you didn't look defeated." His voice dropped to an intimate murmur. "You looked like a woman on the brink of transformation." The air between them seemed charged with electricity. "Fine," she heard herself say. "One night, no expectations." His smile was slow and victorious. "Excellent." As they stood to leave, his fingers brushed her wrist, ever so slightly. The brief contact sent a jolt through her body that had nothing to do with static electricity, and everything to do with the look in his storm-gray eyes. "Until tomorrow, Aurora Gardner," he murmured, lifting his sleeping son into his arms. As he walked toward the elevator, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had just made a deal with a particularly sophisticated devil. And heaven help her, she was looking forward to it. The unexpected kiss. A velvet-lined box awaited Aurora when she returned to her suite that afternoon. Inside, an exquisite burgundy dress fell away from tissue paper like liquid garnet. The fabric whispered against her skin as she put it on. Its perfect fit was too precise to be a coincidence. The suite phone rang at 7 o'clock. Stepping into the waiting Bentley, Aurora caught her reflection. A stranger looked back. Gone was the woman who had planned a sensible life. This creature, with her eyes lined in kohl and her lips stained the color of sin, looked dangerous. Julian occupied the back seat, his attention fixed on his phone. He looked up as she slid in beside him. His fingers froze mid-text. For 5 breathless seconds, he simply stared. "Do you approve?" The question slipped out before she could stop it. His gaze traveled deliberately from her bare shoulders to the slit that revealed a hint of thigh. The dress serves its purpose, which is to ensure every man in the room envies me tonight. The raw frankness of his tone sent a chill over her skin. Flashes erupted like miniature lightning as they ascended the grand staircase of the historic mansion. Julian navigated the crowd with practiced ease, introducing her to a blur of faces. Senators, tech magnates, wealthy patriarchs. "You're a natural," he murmured, leaning close enough for his breath to stir the tendrils of hair at her temple. "They're suspicious," she corrected, maintaining her smile. "I can practically hear the gossip machine humming." "Good, let them wonder." Dancing with Julian was like stepping into a live current. His palm against her waist guided her with subtle pressure, their bodies separated by mere millimeters of warm air. "Everyone is watching us," she whispered. "No, they are watching you." The music shifted to a slower rhythm. His grip tightened, eliminating what little distance remained. "Tell me something true, Aurora. I'm terrified." "Of me?" The question held genuine curiosity. "Of how this feels." Her pupils dilated, midnight consuming the storm gray. Before she could answer, a silky voice interrupted their reverie. "Julian, darling, how delightfully unexpected." The woman who materialized beside them exuded cold perfection. Platinum hair in an architectural updo, cheekbones that could cut diamonds, a silver column dress emphasizing her slender figure. Camille. Julian's tone conveyed nothing. "And who might this be?" She turned her predatory eyes on Aurora. "Aurora Gardner, my date." Camille's laugh tinkled like broken glass. "How charming. Did you hire her for the evening, or is this a more permanent arrangement?" The insult hung in the air, sharp. "Actually," Aurora interjected smoothly, "we met when I found his son wandering alone. Apparently, his mother had forgotten him." "Again. How unfortunate that you were misinformed." Camille's glare hardened. "Finn is rather prone to exaggeration." "Speaking of inheritance," Julian interjected chillingly, "I understand congratulations are in order. Your new partner's recent promotion at Blackwood Securities was quite sudden." A muscle twitched in Camille's jaw. "Thomas earned that spot." "Of course. His expertise in corporate espionage must prove valuable." Camille regained her composure, placing her manicured fingers on Julian's sleeve. "We should catch up, darling, for Finn's sake. My schedule is quite full." He removed her hand with casual precision. Fury flashed in her blue eyes before she masked it. "Enjoy your evening, then." "And you," she addressed Aurora. "Enjoy it while it lasts. Julian's attachments are notoriously brief." "Pleasant woman," Aurora murmured as Camille walked away smoothly. She wasn't always like that. Something akin to regret colored his words. "You loved her. I loved who I thought she was." He guided Aurora toward the terrace doors. A costly mistake. The cool night air embraced them. The Manhattan skyline sparkled beyond the manicured gardens. "Why did you marry her?" The question slipped out spontaneously. "She was pregnant. I believed in responsibility. And now? Now I believe in authenticity." He turned and studied her with intensity. "No more masks, Aurora." Something electric passed between them. His gaze dropped to her lips. Julian inhaled, a sound that was either a warning or an invitation. He moved closer. "Camille is watching from the window." "Oh." Disappointment flooded her veins. This was performance, nothing more. His hand cupped her cheek with unexpected tenderness. "But that's not why I'm going to kiss you." Before she could process his words, his mouth claimed hers. The contact ignited something primal. Hunger. Need. Recognition. His lips moved with devastating expertise, persuading rather than demanding. The kiss deepened, blotting out thought. His arms wrapped around her, one hand spread over her back, the other tangled in her hair. She arched against him, gripping his shoulders to anchor herself. That, he murmured against her temple when they finally parted, was not for show. The complications of reality. Back inside the ballroom, Aurora moved mechanically through conversations, hyper-aware of Julian's proximity, the phantom pressure of his lips, the scorching memory of his taste. As the evening concluded, Camille materialized once more while Julian conversed with a senator across the room. He's quite magnificent, isn't he? Camille sipped champagne. Like taming a wolf. I've never been interested in taming anything, Aurora replied calmly. You think you're different. They all do. I don't think about it at all. You will. Venom laced her perfect diction. When he discards you like all the rest. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a cruel whisper. You think you've won because he kissed you? Darling, I never lose. What Julian and I share can never be broken, especially not by anyone who doesn't understand the game he's playing. Before Aurora could reply, Camille intercepted Julian and whispered something in his ear that transformed his expression into granite. In the limousine, silence stretched between them like an abyss. The passionate man from the terrace was gone, replaced by this remote stranger. What did she tell you? Aurora finally asked. Nothing important. His gaze remained fixed on the passing city lights. When the Bentley pulled into the hotel's circular drive, uncertainty twisted in Aurora's stomach. Had the entire evening been an elaborate farce? The doorman opened her side first. As she stepped onto the pavement, Julian finally looked at her, conflict raging behind his carefully controlled expression. Good night, Aurora. 2 words, polite and final, a dismissal. She had allowed herself to believe, if only for a moment, that the spark between them transcended their agreement, that their kiss held meaning beyond strategy. The elevator doors were closing when a hand shot between them. Julian stepped in, his expression unreadable. You left, she stated flatly, and returned. When they reached her floor, neither moved. Why did you come back? She whispered. His gaze met hers, raw with conflict. Because walking away from you might be the biggest mistake of my life. The doors opened. Waiting. Prove it, she challenged softly. The second choice, the penthouse suite stretched before them, the shimmering Manhattan skyline framed by floor-to-ceiling windows. Neither spoke as Julian walked to the bar, pouring an amber liquid into crystal tumblers. Reflections? He offered her a glass, keeping a careful distance. Aurora accepted the drink, deliberately not touching his fingers, trying to determine if this was madness. Undoubtedly. A ghost of a smile touched his lips as he loosened his bow tie. The question is whether it's the kind worth pursuing. She sipped the whiskey, grateful for its burn. Why did you really invite me tonight? I told you. No, she interrupted him. The real reason. Julian leaned against the window. The city lights cast shadows on his face. When I saw you in that bus terminal, drenched and devastated, yet still standing, I recognized something. What? Resilience. His gaze met hers. It's rare. The compliment warmed her more than the alcohol. That doesn't explain following me into the elevator. He swirled the liquor in his glass. Impulse, not my typical approach. Regrets? None. His voice dropped lower. Yet. Aurora drifted toward the piano in the corner, running her fingertips over its polished surface. Do you play? Seriously. He watched her movements with predatory attention. Finn takes lessons. The mention of his son softened something between them. He seems wonderful. He is. Pride colored his tone. The one decision I've never questioned. He sat on the bench and pressed a key that resonated in the silent space. Unlike bringing me here, Julian approached, stopping just out of her reach. I'm still determining what you are, Aurora. A person, not a puzzle. She pressed another key. A temptation. The word hung between them, charged and dangerous. Heat rose to her neck. You barely know me. I know enough. He stepped closer. You value loyalty over convenience, kindness over social advantage, authenticity over pretense. You've deduced all this from a day's acquaintance? From seeing you with my son? From watching you handle Camille with grace instead of venom? From how you look at what I possess, not who I might be? Aurora stood abruptly, needing space from his intensity. You're projecting qualities you want to see, perhaps. He set down his glass. Or perhaps I recognize something extraordinary when I find it. She backed toward the terrace doors. This agreement was temporary. One night is concluded. Is that what you want? He remained motionless, giving her room to escape. The honest answer terrified her. What I want is irrelevant. This, he gestured between them, doesn't make sense. We inhabit different worlds. Worlds change. He took a single step toward her. Feelings emerge where they shouldn't exist. Feelings? She aimed for sarcasm, but achieved only vulnerability. Inconvenient, aren't they? His self-mockery couldn't hide the sincerity beneath. What made you change your mind? She forced herself to ask. After we left the gala, you were distant. Something hardened in his expression. Camille has a talent for poisoning moments. What did she say to you? Nothing worth repeating. It was about me. He clenched his jaw. She insinuated certain things about your motives. The realization dawned. She suggested I'm after your money. He didn't deny it. Camille judges everyone by her own standards. And you believed her? The pain in her voice surprised them both. For approximately 3 minutes, his gaze never wavered. Until I remembered who found my son. The moonlight spilled through the windows, painting silver patterns on the floor. Aurora shivered despite the warmth of the room. Cold? He approached slowly, deliberately. No. Her pulse quickened as the distance between them closed. Uncertain. About? This trajectory. She made a vague gesture. The wisdom of whatever is happening. His fingers lightly brushed her bare shoulder, light as a feather. Wisdom rarely factors into matters of attraction. The contact sent electricity through her veins. Attraction fades. Eventually. Her fingers traced his collarbone. But we are discussing the present. She forced herself to meet his eyes. What exactly are you proposing, Julian? Nothing so formal. His palm rested on her neck, simply acknowledging the obvious, which is that I want to kiss you again. The confession was low, almost irreverent, and that you want me to. Her breath hitched. Presumptuous, perceptive. His thumb traced the line of her jaw. Tell me I'm wrong. You're not wrong. The admission escaped as little more than a whisper. Something primitive gleamed in his eyes. If you want me to stop, Aurora, say it now. Her response was to lean forward, eliminating the final inches between them. Their lips met with a sweetness that quickly turned to hunger. This held no element of performance, only a raw, unadorned need. His hands framed her face as if she were precious. She gripped his shoulders, anchoring herself as the sensation overpowered reason. When they parted, both breathing hard, Julian pressed his forehead against hers. Stay with me tonight. I shouldn't. Her voice betrayed her conflict. I'm not asking you what you should do, I'm asking you what you want. Before she could answer, a phone interrupted the moment. Not his sleek device, but hers, ringing from her handbag. Liam. Julian stepped back, creating space between them without comment. Trembling fingers retrieved the vibrating phone. The screen showed 5 missed calls and a new message. I made a terrible mistake. We need to talk. Your fiancé seems to have reconsidered. Julian's voice remained carefully neutral. Ex-fiancé, she corrected. For now. Something closed off in his expression. Until you forgive him. I haven't decided if forgiveness is warranted. Haven't you? His tone held no accusation, just resignation. He represents security, familiarity, the logical choice. Unlike you, the question slipped out before she could censor it. I am many things, Aurora, but I've never claimed to be logical. He walked toward the bar. Oh, safety. The phone rang again in her palm. Liam calling now. Should you answer? Julian's back remained to her. Unresolved questions make for restless nights. What if I don't want to talk to him? He turned and studied her. Then that itself is an answer, isn't it? The phone continued its insistent vibration. With a decisive motion, Aurora silenced it and put it back in her bag. Tonight, no. She met Julian's steady gaze. Whatever Liam wants, it can wait. Something shifted in Julian's expression. Surprise, perhaps, or respect. He moved toward her again. Are you sure? The question encompassed far more than the unanswered call. Her answer was to shorten the distance between them, intertwining her fingers in his shirt. This contained none of the restraint of their earlier encounters, only an honest, uncomplicated desire. His arms wrapped fully around her, enveloping her in strength and heat. The world narrowed to sensation, his mouth exploring hers, his hands tracing her spine, her chest against his palms. When they finally broke apart, Julian's eyes were dark. Aurora, he whispered, I won't offer you forever. Only this night. No promises beyond sunrise. The honesty in his voice brought something unexpected. Not disappointment, but liberation. This night, she nodded softly, is enough. The path forward. The morning light streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, waking Aurora from her sleep. Disorientation gripped her momentarily. Unfamiliar sheets, panoramic views of Manhattan, the subtle scent of sandalwood on the pillow. Julian's penthouse. The space beside her was empty, still warm. From somewhere beyond the bedroom, she caught the muffled cadence of his voice. Calm, authoritative, conducting business before dawn. Reality burst in like an unwelcome guest. Last night existed in another dimension, a fantasy woven of champagne, moonlight, and skin against skin. The sunrise demanded acknowledgement of consequences. Her phone was blinking with notifications. 17 missed calls from Liam, 8 voicemails, countless text messages. She silenced it again, reluctant to break the fragile bubble surrounding those hours. The bedroom door opened, revealing Julian in gray sleepwear, his hair damp from a shower, 2 mugs in hand. Are you awake? Barely. She accepted the coffee, grateful for something to hold. Early calls? Tokyo markets. He sat on the edge of the mattress, maintaining a deliberate distance between them. Sleep well? The careful courtesy stung after their intimacy. Undisturbed? The silence stretched, heavy with unasked questions. He broke first. Regrets? None. She looked him directly in the eye. You? Only that it ended this morning. A hint of the warmth from the previous night returned to his eyes. His phone lit up again on the nightstand, and Liam's face appeared on the screen. Julian's expression instantly cooled. He's persistent. Guilt often is. She declined the call, but the interruption broke their momentary connection. I've made breakfast. He stood, withdrawing physically and emotionally. Take your time. Alone again, Aurora faced her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Tousled hair, faint marks along her collarbone, eyes bright with secrets. The woman staring back looked transformed, unfamiliar. Had one night truly changed her, or merely revealed something latent? The dining room offered another study in luxury. Freshly baked pastries, artfully arranged fruit, and sterling silver coffee service. Julian stood by the windows, his profile silhouetted against the cityscape, already dressed in a custom charcoal suit. Back to business, back to reality. You've traded the whiskey for coffee. She aimed for lightness. Responsibilities await. His smile did not reach his eyes, including Finn's return this afternoon. The mention of his son crystallized the surreal nature of their situation. 24 hours ago, She had been rushing to marry another man. Now she was in a billionaire's penthouse, contemplating the aftermath of passion. I should go. She set down her coffee, untouched. This was unexpected. She paused, but not unpleasant. Before he could respond, the elevator chimed. Julian frowned. I'm not expecting anyone. The doors slid open to reveal Camille, impeccable, in a cream cashmere dress and red-soled heels that echoed against the marble as she strode uninvited into the penthouse. Julian, darling, we need to talk. She stopped upon seeing Aurora, satisfaction mirrored in her perfect features. Well, how domestic. Julian's posture shifted subtly. Protective. This isn't a convenient time, Camille. Evidently. Her gaze dissected Aurora with surgical precision. I came by for Finn's summer plans, but I see you're busy. Humiliation burned in Aurora's veins. She was half-dressed in borrowed clothes, while Camille radiated elegance and belonging. I'll give you privacy. Aurora moved toward the bedroom. Don't run on my account. Camille's smile shone like a blade. I'm familiar with Julian's day-after protocol. Coffee, polite conversation, promises of a call that never materializes. That's enough. Julian's voice cut like steel. Camille ignored him, addressing Aurora directly. You think last night meant something? That you're different? Pity colored her tone. Darling, I invented that illusion. This does not concern you. Julian stepped between them. Doesn't it? Camille challenged. When you're parading your latest distraction in front of my son? Her words struck with precision. Aurora recalled the intimacies of the night, now tainted by innuendo. Had she simply been another conquest? A temporary escape from boredom? Finn adores me, Camille continued, now addressing Julian. He needs stability, not a parade of overnight guests playing mommy. That's rich coming from you. Anger bordered his words. I've changed. Her voice softened, transforming before Aurora's eyes into something vulnerable. The therapy you insisted on helped. I'm ready to do what you and Finn need. The revelation stunned Aurora. Therapy? Reconciliation? What history lay between them? This discussion can wait. Julian glanced toward Aurora, conflict evident in his expression. Can it? When your impulsiveness affects Finn? When he's already asked me twice if Mommy and Daddy are going to live together again? Aurora felt invisible, a spectator to an intimate family drama. The fantasy of passion crumbled, revealing the complicated reality of Julian's life, a life where she was an intruder. I should go. She gathered her dignity and retreated to collect her things. In the bedroom, she changed quickly. Her mind raced. Last night glowed with possibility, but daylight exposed uncomfortable truths. Julian wasn't simply available. He was entangled in complex family dynamics, joint custody arrangements, a history that permanently bound him to Camille. What had she expected? That one magical night would erase these complications? When she emerged, Camille was gone. Julian stood by the windows. Tension radiated from his shoulders. I apologize for that ambush. He turned, his expression cautious. Camille excels at strategic timing. She's still in love with you. The declaration landed between them, undeniable. She's in love with controlling me. Bitterness edged his words. There's a distinction. There is, Aurora challenged him. You share a child, a history. She's getting therapy at your request, to address her manipulative tendencies, not for reconciliation. Yet your son hopes for the opposite. Pain crossed his features. Children often wish for what is not possible. Perhaps. She gripped her handbag tighter. But perhaps some wishes deserve consideration. Frustration darkened his gaze. Are you letting Camille's theatrics dictate your choices? No. Conviction steadied her voice. I am acknowledging reality. Last night was extraordinary, but it exists in isolation. You have complications that I cannot and should not compete with. I'm not asking you to compete. He stepped closer. What happened between us? It was chemistry and timing. She cut him off, shielding herself from promises he couldn't keep. Nothing more. The lie tasted bitter, but necessary. Whatever connection sparked between them, pursuing it meant stepping onto a battlefield where Camille held all the advantages. History, Finn's affection, intimate knowledge of Julian's vulnerabilities. You don't believe that. He took her hand. She stepped back. I need to believe it. Something shattered in his expression. Pride, perhaps, or nascent hope. So you'll go back to him, the man who dismissed you without hesitation. The accusation landed with precision. That's unfair. Is it? Anger bordered his words. 24 hours ago, you were devastated. Now you're running back to what destroyed you. I never said it wasn't necessary. He turned away, his voice hardening. Choose safety if you must, but don't pretend it's about Finn or Camille. It's about fear. The cruel assessment struck her deep. Was he right? Was she seeking refuge in the familiar rather than risking deeper hurt? Perhaps I am, she conceded, gathering what dignity she had left. But sometimes fear is protection. They faced each other across an emotional gulf. Neither knew how to bridge. The intimacy of the night before evaporated, replaced by defensive posturing. I should go. She headed for the elevator, his expression closed off completely, the vulnerable lover replaced by the controlled executive. Of course, the car will take you wherever you need to go. The formality stung more than anger. As the elevator doors opened, she hesitated. Julian, no. His voice cut off sharply. Whatever you're about to say, save it. I've heard all the gentle rejections possible. Pride straightened her spine. I was going to thank you. Something flickered in his eyes. Regret, perhaps. But his reply was cold and final. No thanks are necessary. It was only one night, as agreed. The elevator doors closed between them, severing any fragile connection they had forged. As the car descended, Aurora leaned against the mirrored wall, fighting back unexpected tears. In 24 hours, she lost a fiancé, found an unexpected passion, and walked away from both. The emptiness yawned before her, terrifying in its possibilities. When the elevator reached the lobby, her phone chimed with a text notification. Liam, I'm at the Wellington Hotel, room 718. Please, just talk. The Wellington was only 2 blocks away. She could walk there now, hear his explanation, and consider forgiveness. Return to the secure, predictable future she had planned. She stepped out into the sunlight, and Manhattan buzzed around her with indifference. At the corner, she paused. Left toward the Wellington and Liam. Right toward an uncertain future without either of them. Her decision crystallized with surprising clarity. She turned right, the choice of her own. 3 days passed in a logistical blur. Aurora retrieved her belongings from what should have been their marital home. She secured a temporary sublet and returned to work at the non-profit. Friday afternoon found her hunched over spreadsheets in a corner cafe. Budgeting for the children's literacy event, the rain drummed against the window panes, mirroring her mood. Aurora. She froze at the familiar voice. Liam stood before her, raindrops clinging to his navy peacoat, shadows under his eyes suggesting sleepless nights. This isn't a good time. She focused on her laptop screen. 5 minutes. He slid into the chair opposite her. Please. 4 minutes, 50 seconds. I was wrong. The blunt admission caught her attention. Catastrophically and unforgivably wrong. Yes, you were. She closed her laptop. Is that all? I panicked. When you missed the bus, I convinced myself it was a sign you weren't committed enough. Commitment wasn't the issue. Her voice remained steady. Your willingness to discard me over an incident was, I know. Misery etched lines around his mouth. My father had just called, warning me about history repeating itself. So you preemptively ruined our wedding because your father has relationship issues? It sounds ridiculous now. It was ridiculous then. Anger flared unexpectedly. You abandoned me on what should have been the happiest day of our lives. I've regretted every second since. The caterers, the guests, everything was there. I looked at that empty space beside me and realized what I had thrown away. You missed the bride at the altar, not me specifically. That's not true, isn't it? Clarity crystallized her thoughts. You're grieving the wedding, Liam. The event, not our relationship. That's unfair. I've known you for 3 years. We built a life together, a predictable one. The understanding bloomed, one that fit your 5-year plan perfectly. His silence confirmed her assessment. I loved you. The past tense came naturally. But now I wonder if I loved the idea of us more than the reality. You're upset, but we can fix this. There's nothing to fix. She gathered her belongings. Some breaks are permanent. This is about him, isn't it? The accusation hardened his features. I made inquiries. DeVere, divorced, custody disputes, rumored affairs. Is that who you left me for? The ice flooded her veins. Have you been investigating me? Not you, him. Is that what happened? I didn't leave you for anyone. You discarded me, remember? What happened afterward is irrelevant. Then something did happen. His expression darkened. While I was devastated, you were careful. Her warning was sharp as steel. You forfeited all right to judge my actions. Frustration contorted his features. I made a mistake. A revealing one. She stood to leave. Goodbye, Liam. He grabbed her wrist, his final plea following her. Wait. Just listen. Any fantasy you've built with this man isn't real. He has a reputation. The assessment echoed her own fears. Release me. Not until you hear me out. I know you. He doesn't. Whatever he promised nothing. The truth came out. That's the difference between you. Your promises were hollow. His honesty was absolute. Liam's grip tightened. You're being naive, and you're causing a scene. She nodded toward the watching patrons. With visible effort, he released her. Just think about what you're throwing away. 3 years, a home, a future. I already considered it. My answer is still no. As she walked towards the exit, his final plea followed. I still love you. 2 blocks later, walking through the rain, she saw the sleek vehicle crawling beside her. The passenger window rolled down. A curious time for a stroll. Julian's serene voice cut through the rain. Her footsteps faltered. Are you stalking me now? Coincidence board meeting. He gestured toward the building across the street. But you're soaked, and I have a car. Pride fought practicality. I'm fine. Stubborn, too. He extended an umbrella out the window. As her fingers closed around the handle, he released it without allowing their skin to touch. Thank you. The formality felt safer than genuine gratitude. He nodded, then looked past her. His expression hardened. It seems your fiancé has located you. She turned and found Liam approaching, determination etched into his stride. Ex-fiancé, she corrected automatically. Semantics. Julian's tone cooled. He seems intent on reconciliation. Before she could answer, Liam reached them, staring intently between Aurora and the luxury vehicle. So the rumors are true. The accusation laced his words. You left me for him. I didn't leave you at all. You abandoned me, remember? The passenger door opened, and Julian stepped out, unhurried and graceful. His presence dominated the sidewalk. Mr. Prescott, I assume. His tone conveyed polite disinterest. Liam visibly bristled. And you're the vulture who swooped in on my fiancé. Ex-fiancé, Julian corrected smoothly. A distinction you created through your own actions. This doesn't concern you. When you accost a woman in the rain, it becomes a public concern. Steel underpinned Julian's pleasant tone. Liam's fists clenched. Aurora and I have history, culminating in abandonment on your wedding day. Julian's assessment landed with precision. Impressive commitment. You know nothing about us. I know enough. The quiet certainty in Julian's voice resonated deeper than Liam's indignation. Aurora intervened before the hostility escalated. Stop, both of you. I am not property to be contested. Of course not. Liam softened his approach. I just want to talk without interference. We've talked. There is nothing more to say. You're making a mistake. Desperation sharpened his words. Whatever he is offering is not real. Men like him do not commit to women like... Careful. Julian's warning carried an unmistakable threat. Realization dawned in Liam's expression. You actually care about her. This isn't just another conquest. Aurora deserves better than either of us. Julian's admission hung in the rain-swept silence. The difference is that I acknowledge that fact. Liam recovered first. Pretty words from a man with your reputation. At least my failures were not from a lack of effort. The direct retort hit its mark. Tension crackled between them. Aurora stepped between them, blocking their confrontation. Enough, Liam. We are done. Permanently. Julian, thank you for the umbrella, but I don't need rescuing. Both men stared at Hirschamir, surprise mirrored in their expressions. I don't belong to either of you. Clarity rang in her statement. Not to the man who discarded me, nor to the man who sees me as a temporary fascination. Julian's features flickered with pain. You misunderstand my intentions. Do I? You offered one night, no promises. Circumstances change. Intensity burned in his gaze. People change. Perhaps. But I need time to determine who I am without either of you defining me. Liam's expression darkened. You're rejecting both of us? I'm choosing myself. The declaration felt like freedom, something she should have done long ago. As she walked away, neither man immediately followed. The absence of pursuit felt both disappointing and empowering. She had almost reached the corner when footsteps splashed behind her. A hand gently touched her shoulder, spinning her around. Julian stood before her, the rain plastering his suit to his broad shoulders. I let you walk away once, he said simply. I won't make that mistake again. The full circle, weeks passed. The autumn leaves painted Central Park in fiery hues as Aurora rebuilt her life piece by piece. The non-profit's fundraiser consumed her days. Apartment hunting filled her evenings. Slowly, the raw edges of her heart began to heal. Liam's texts dwindled and then ceased altogether. She learned through mutual friends that he had accepted a transfer to Chicago. Fleeing or starting over, she couldn't decide which. From Julian, nothing. After that rain-soaked declaration, he had simply asked for time to prove he meant more than temporary fascination. She had granted it, unsure what proof could possibly be enough. Then silence. No calls, no messages, no dramatic gestures. Perhaps she had read it all wrong. Perhaps his once wounded pride couldn't withstand her rejection. Or perhaps Camille had managed to reclaim her family. The thought shouldn't hurt anymore. Yet it did. Friday afternoon found her alone at the community center, tallying the final donation totals for the literacy benefit. The event exceeded expectations, funding reading programs for underserved schools in 3 counties. Professional triumph didn't erase personal emptiness. Her phone vibrated with a text from an unknown number. Outside. Important. Ignoring it seemed prudent, but curiosity prevailed. She peered through the blinds into the darkening street, where a familiar sleek vehicle sat by the curb. Her heart stuttered. Not Julian's usual driver, but a woman in the front seat. Platinum blonde hair, unmistakable, even in the dim streetlight. Camille! Fear pooled in her stomach as she descended to street level. The passenger window slid down as she approached. Get in! Camille's command brooked no refusal. Why would I? Because it's about Finn. The mention of Julian's son removed resistance. The interior smelled of expensive perfume and leather. Camille navigated Manhattan traffic with aggressive precision, speaking only after they merged onto the West Side Highway. He's different now. No preamble necessary. They both knew whom she meant. Aurora remained silent, wary of manipulation, distracted, working less. He actually attends Finn's soccer games without checking emails. Camille's manicured hands gripped the steering wheel. He's trying to be better because of you. The admission clearly cost her. Why tell me this? Because I miscalculated. Brutal honesty hardened her perfect features. I believed you were temporary. Another diversion he would tire of. I never was. You were more, Camille interrupted. That's the problem. They pulled onto a tree-lined suburban street. Ahead lay modest homes with neatly trimmed lawns. Nothing like the luxury Aurora associated with Julian or Camille. Where are we? My parents' neighborhood. Camille pulled up to the curb. Where I grew up. Where I met Julian, delivering food to help pay for college. The revelation stunned Aurora. You weren't always wealthy, polished, ruthless. A bitter smile curled Camille's lips. I earned every quality you despise. Survival required it. For the first time, Aurora glimpsed the woman behind the perfect facade. Hungry, determined, perpetually insecure, despite external success. Why bring me here? To show you what Julian does. Camille pointed to a modest house where a familiar figure was kneeling on the front lawn with a little boy. Every Tuesday and Friday, he brings Finn to visit my parents. He ensures they remain a part of his life, despite everything that happened between us. In the twilight, Aurora watched Julian help Finn build a pile of leaves, their laughter faintly audible across the quiet street. The scene radiated domestic joy. He's a good father. The observation came out softly. The best. Agreement tinged with regret. I wasn't worthy of either of them. The admission hung between them, stunning in its vulnerability. I don't understand why you're showing me this. Camille turned, her ice blue eyes meeting Aurora's directly. Because I've spent 2 years trying to manipulate my way back into his life. Pride, not love, drove me. The need to win, to possess. And now? Now I realize some victories destroy what you're fighting for. Her gaze drifted back to the tableau across the street. Julian deserves happiness. Finn deserves stability. Neither will happen if I keep interfering. The realization dawned slowly. You're letting go. With conditions. Steel returned to Camille's voice. If you are entering their lives, commit fully. Or walk away permanently. No half measures. They've experienced enough abandonment. Before Aurora could respond, the car door opened. Finn stood there, his eyes wide in recognition. You're the lady from the bus station. Delight transformed his features. Daddy, it's her. Julian appeared behind his son, surprise evident in his expression as he registered both women. Aurora? Surprise visit. Camille's composure instantly returned. I thought Aurora would like to see Finn demonstrate his new soccer skills. The fabricated explanation fooled no one, least of all Julian, whose gaze moved between the women with open suspicion. How thoughtful. His tone conveyed the precise opposite. An elderly couple emerged from the house, curious about the commotion. Finn ran toward them, excitedly explaining about the unexpected visitor. Camille seized the momentary distraction. Don't waste this, she murmured, for Aurora's ears only. He won't admit it, but you broke something in him. Fix it, or end it. With that cryptic instruction, she glided toward her parents, instantly transforming into the perfect daughter, leaving Julian and Aurora alone on the sidewalk. Silence stretched between them, heavy with unasked questions. This is unexpected. His voice betrayed nothing of his thoughts. It's Camille's idea, not mine. The clarification felt important. She wanted me to see something. And did you? His gaze searched her face. Yes. The simple truth came out softly. I saw what matters to you. Something vulnerable flickered in his expression. It's been 6 weeks. You asked for time. To prove I'm worthy of your consideration. Frustration edged his words. Not to disappear completely. You never called. I never responded. She ran a hand through her hair, a rare gesture of agitation. I sent flowers, letters, left messages with your assistant. All were refused or returned. Confusion creased her brow. I received nothing. Realization dawned simultaneously for both of them. Camille! Their voices merged in shared understanding. She intercepted everything. Disbelief colored his tone. Until tonight. Aurora looked toward where Camille was chatting with her parents. Until she deliberately brought me here. Why would she suddenly help? Suspicion narrowed his gaze. Perhaps she realized some battles aren't worth winning. The idea felt true. That genuine love means prioritizing another's happiness over one's own desires. The rain began to fall, soft at first. Then with growing urgency, mirroring that fateful first day at the bus terminal. We should go inside. Julian gestured toward the house. No. Aurora took a deliberate step into the downpour. I prefer the rain. Understanding transformed his expression. He closed the distance between them in 2 strides. Raindrops painted their faces with silver streaks. I never stopped thinking about you. The confession came out raw, unfiltered. Not for a day. Prove it. The challenge echoed their first night together. His response was to pull her into him, his lips claiming hers with desperate intensity. The kiss tasted of rain and certainty, erasing weeks of doubt in seconds. When they parted, both breathless, his forehead pressed against hers. Is that proof enough? It's a promising start. Joy bubbled through her veins. Finn's joyous shout interrupted the moment. Daddy's kissing her! Laughter escaped both of them as they turned to find their audience. Finn, bouncing with excitement. Camille, watching with complex resignation. Her parents smiling with evident approval. I should warn you, Julian murmured against her temple. This package includes an enthusiastic 7-year-old superhero enthusiast and occasionally complicated family dynamics. I wouldn't have it any other way. The truth resonated in her soul as Finn raced towards them, launching himself into his father's arms. Aurora realized the perfection of this moment, not despite its complications, but because of them. True love was not the fairy tale she had planned with Liam. It was messy, challenging, and unexpectedly beautiful. Exactly like the rain-soaked kiss that had changed everything.